Hi, my name is Lee Heider, and I'm co-founder of Trof. And before I get into how we're fostering real friendships, one meal at a time, I want to tell a quick backstory about myself. That's me, right there in the green flannel, surrounded by a great group of friends at an awesome restaurant downtown, having a fun Friday night out. And when I moved to Colorado Springs, this is how I thought my life was going to be, surrounded by great people going out doing fun things. And in reality, my first year at Colorado Springs was spent like this. Is because I moved somewhere new where I didn't know anyone, and I didn't realize how hard it is to meet new people when you move somewhere. So instead of going out and being surrounded by a bunch of great people, I forced myself to go do things by myself or stare at the wall in my apartment. And during this time, I found out I'm not alone in that a lot of 18 to 26-year-olds actually struggle with meeting people, and now with COVID, it's never been harder to actually meet people in real life. So what is the problem? The problem is social media apps don't foster human interaction. All they do is promoting you talking to someone back and forth on the street. They fundamentally been built around keeping you glued to your phone and not actually meeting people. The other problem is 18 to 25-year-olds are the loneliest generation in all of America. And also, there's no easy solution to meet new people in a community. Humans psychologically crave connection, but it's really hard to make that connection when you don't know anyone. And lastly, numerous studies have found 1 out of 5 Americans say they have no person they can talk to. And that's why Trof was created. Trof is a mobile application that connects users with similar interests at local restaurants. And our unique approach to this is simple. Users download our free-to-use app and put in their interests. From here, they'll be able to see all the dinner parties going around in their city that match their interests. And if they see one at a restaurant they like, they can click on it and see where it's at, what day it is, and what time it is, and what it's about, such as sports, racing, or nature. But most importantly, they can click into the group, see who's attending, everyone's interests, and if it looks like a fun group, they can join and go have a fun night out on the town. So when me and my co-founders met, we asked ourselves, is it just us who's experienced this pain, or do other people experience this pain? So we hosted a bunch of pop-ups around UCCS's campus, where we connected students who shared similar interests over food. And we surveyed about 100 students and we asked, do you feel your social media apps truly help you meet people? And 97% of students said somewhat or no. And then after they did our pop-up event, we asked them, did this help them meet people better than any app they've used before? And 92% of students said yes. And also, 87% of students who attended said, since it was based around food, interest, and in person, it's something they'd want to do again. And from these pop-up events, we've gained 250 pre-signed up users. So when it comes to our target demographic and who we're trying to get, it is really going to be incoming college students and graduating seniors. So when we look at the incoming college students, we want to focus with them when we launch. And the reason being is they're most likely leaving their hometown, like myself, to attend college. And they're leaving behind all of their hometown friends, and they're moving to a new city. And they have to restart the friend-making process all over again, which can be extremely scary and tons of freshmen go through. And then we're also trying to hit recently graduated seniors because we see them go through something similar. They've gone through college, they've made it to college friends, but now they're moving for their first job and they're having to restart the whole friend-making process over in a new city. And then when we look at it, there's 77,000 people in this demographic in Colorado Springs. There's 721,000 people in this age range in Colorado alone, and about 67 million in the U.S., which Colorado Springs and Colorado are growing more every year with this demographic. And lastly, numerous studies have shown that this demographic prefers meeting people the way our app works compared to others. So when it comes to a revenue model, we're a B2B2C. And we're B2B in terms of we charge restaurants $1 per user in our dinner parties. And our dinner parties are going to range anywhere from 4 to 8 people. We've already validated $1 works because we've met with numerous restaurants in Colorado Springs and they've agreed to pay that. We plan to increase this number once our beta testing wraps up. And to launch our beta, we already have 5 restaurants on board to work with us. Then the 2C part comes in where the 18 to 26-year-olds are the users of our app. So we're B2B with restaurants and then we're 2C with the 18 to 26-year-olds. And if we just take a glance at our pro forma, if we have 3% of the 18 to 26-year-old market, which is about 20,000 users, and they use our app just twice a month, we have 150 participating restaurants, we'll be making $500,000 in profit in just year one. And so when we look at our model, why do restaurants prefer us? The biggest reason is restaurants only pay if our users convert. So utilizing geofencing within our app, we can track to see if the user showed up to the restaurant, went inside, and sat down with their dinner party. And if that's the case, the restaurant then pays, but they're never not paying if our users aren't going in and spending money. Secondly, it drives new and consistent foot traffic through the door, which is something every restaurant owner needs, and it's never been more important now than during COVID. Also, it allows a restaurant to have a unique experience, which every restaurant is always finding a way to make them more unique than their competitors. And lastly, when we met with restaurant owners, we kept hearing how they love our model over coupon-based models such as Groupon, because they're only paying if their users are converting, and it's extremely easy for them to track their ROI. So when we're looking at the market, there's about 12,000 restaurants in Colorado and about 674,000 restaurants in America. And then when we look at 2019 data, $13 billion was spent eating out in Colorado in 2019, and $850 billion was spent eating out in all of the U.S. in 2019, which makes about 4% of the GDP for the U.S. And so now when we look at the market and what COVID's done to it, analysts are estimating that the market is going to be about $300 billion spent eating out in 2020. And now we understand that's more than a 50% cut to the market, but $300 billion is still a large number. But one crucial piece of data is that after the 2008 recession, there was 2.5 million jobs added to the restaurant industry because 2009, 2010, once the recession ended, the restaurant industry boomed and people were eating out at higher rates than they ever have before. And that's what analysts are predicting is going to happen after COVID. So when we look at how we're breaking into the market, our first way is through restaurants. We're going to use restaurants to be advocates of us. We're going to put window clings in their door, marketing things on their table tent, post special events at their restaurant, and have them post about us on social media. And that'll allow us to tap into their existing user base for relatively cheap. And then the second and most crucial way we're going to tap into the market is through college campuses. So like we said, we're trying to really get those 18 to 26-year-olds who are going to college for the first time. And we're going to get to those people by partnering with fraternities, sororities, student first life experience, and other clubs on campus, and really hit those colleges hard. And lastly, we're going to use content marketing to reach this demographic as they spend most of their time on social media apps when they get their news. And when we look at our competitor landscape, the landscape is extremely messy, and I'm sure everyone can name one app they've used to meet people. But the problem is, like we touched on in the beginning, social media apps aren't social. They don't foster human interaction, and all they do is promote you to be glued to your phone and not actually meet people in real life. And Gen Z has said, this is not how we want to meet people. We want to go out and we want to meet people in real life. And that's what Trof's providing to the market. Then when we come to our team, we have a complementary set of skills that has allowed us to go far with $0 in investment. We've validated the problem, built an MVP, gained 250 users, and have 5 restaurants on board to launch our beta with $0 in investment. But most importantly, we're motivated to solve this problem because we've all experienced how it feels to move somewhere and try to make friends. So where are we headed? When we look at our timeline, we're going to be launching our beta in early 2021 and working with a private group of people to test the product all the way until about April 2021. And then in May, we're going to launch publicly in Colorado Springs, which is the #1 city for millennials to live in. And all throughout the summer, we're going to be expanding, growing our user base. And then come August 2021, when the new college semester starts, we're going to move up to CU Boulder and CSU Fort Collins to launch our app there, which has over 68,000 students between just those 2 schools. When it comes to our ask, our first ask is please connect us with restaurant owners. As we said, we're going to be launching our beta at the start of 2021, and we'd love to partner with as many restaurants in Colorado Springs as we can and get to know as many restaurant owners as we scale. And our second ask is connect us to investors. We are not raising a round now, but after we finish our beta launch up, we're going to begin a seed round. So if you can introduce us to any of those early conversations, that'd be great. Thank you. And if you'd like to learn more about Trof or sign up, visit trofapp.com.